What up? What up? What up? This is Mike the philosopher along with Tamara. How you doing?
I'm good, and I'm gonna be on my best behavior
Well,
today.
that's always a good thing. Yes, yes, that's what's up. So I guess we can go ahead and go over this now. This was one of the reunions. I think they have two, right? So they'll have another one after this. And
Mhm.
it was interesting. It was interesting. What I'm as a gentleman, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first. So tell me,
Okay.
what did you think about this reunion?
So I'll be honest and say I typically think the Ready to Love reunions suck because the way they edit it, they never let a conversation kind of flow and come to a conclusion. They tend to, you can tell it's really choppy. Like, well, we're done. We're going to commercial. They just talked about that and now it's over. Like,
Right.
and I it did a little bit better this year, this time, but I still felt like I wanted to know more about certain topics that we touched upon, and I'll talk through some of those. And I wish if they're gonna have it be 2 episodes or 3 episodes, get into it. Let the people have let the real conversation be shown, because usually there's some insight you'll get instead of judging these people we don't even know and
Right.
what they say on Instagram, but really allowing them an opportunity to speak their piece. And so that's my feedback to Tommy on the editing for the reunion.
Yeah. Let them all know that I think they should probably extend it to about an hour and a half at least and give
Mm-hmm.
them some more time. Because I agree with you. It's a little too choppy and you don't get to the full story or the meat of the story
Mm-hmm.
because they on time restrictions. So when they on time restrictions, like okay, I can understand you chopping up a show, a regular season show, but the reunion that all that needs to come out,
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible. And they should open, like I said, they should open that up to at least an hour and a half. I think you can get out everything in one setting in an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I thought they used to do that where they would have an hour or 2 hour special and it would just be one show, but I think they start breaking it up into two shows
Mm-hmm.
and making it, and just kind of chopping it up that way. So maybe we'll get some of the answers in the next reunion. But I wanted to ask you about your boy, okay, Laverne.
Mabu.
Yeah, your boo. How
Yeah.
did you feel about the jockey suit he got on? Was that pretty
So
tight?
my first thing was my baby needs love advice and he needs wardrobe advice as well. I know you got pretty legs. I know you got muscles, but baby, that was a terrible outfit. The socks are terrible. The matchy matchy is not cool. He still got
Wow.
that great smile, so he could probably get away with wearing a potato sack in my eyes. But
Okay.
I would have loved if he had come a little more debonair like some of the other men did.
Mm,
Because, but maybe because sometimes people have that pretty syndrome where I could just throw on anything, it don't really matter. True
right,
that,
right.
but I think he intentionally tried, and that was a bad try. Um, but I will
Now,
have to say he
okay.
won me back on the reunion because
Are
I
you
started.
serious?
I never went to the far left, the rest of the world who don't love my Laverne. But I feel like some of the conversation with Precious, it got so messy that I actually feel like there's more to that story that didn't come out. There was more going on the women's side in the background. And what she came blazing at Laverne, which really wasn't the big lie. The big story is who was involved, who had plans on breaking up couples or whatever it was, and the fact that Precious is upset because her name got thrown out there. But
Now, see,
did she?
I'm gonna have to call you on a bias here. I'm
There's
gonna have to
not a
call you
bias.
out.
Her argument fell to pieces. She was so irrational and emotional,
Precious?
yes, and going off that you really couldn't, because she they called out names and they're like, I didn't answer the phone, so I ain't in it. And then here is Carmen, who I would believe would do this because she was having a little side conversation about Laverne, was like, Precious, you called me. Like, Precious looked like the liar to me. And
Yeah,
even
if
as you
you're
said, Laverne,
team Laverne, everybody's going to look like the liar.
no, because what she tried to go off about him lying, make sure I get this right. What I heard was she feels like he was lying because he said on camera that she told Ace that they were plotting to get him off the show, right? What do you believe that Laverne lied about? Because I got lost in the conversation.
Yeah, I kind of got lost in it too because she was like, he said and she said and she said and he said, but basically here's how I think it went. Okay, I think that Precious did have a conversation with Ace or whatever, but I think Laverne lied, and here's why.
Oh, which part? Which part did he lie
I
about?
think he lied about it coming from Precious. I still think it came from a producer, and he doesn't want to throw the producer under the bus.
But did you see Ace nodding as he's telling the story? She's nodding in agreement that he is telling the story the way it happened.
Well, he wasn't a total lie. One thing he had already admitted that a producer told him.
Sure, but that doesn't mean
but he did not. But he did not
conversation
bring that up. He did not bring that up in the reunion.
But that still doesn't
So
mean
it's a lie by omission. It's a lie by omission.
Did not tell Ace, because she did tell Ace. She did.
But what I'm saying is he's not giving the full story clearly. We already know.
And neither is she.
But yeah, but you're harder on her than you are on him.
No, I'm saying I can't tell who's lying. I do think she's lying. I feel like if he messed up the who told him, she did have a conversation with Ace. Ace did corroborate that. I don't see where we're still calling him a liar.
You know that a producer said that.
I do, and he's not bringing that in. But
so it's a lie by omission.
No,
see, and this is kind of where I have okay, I'm gonna have to call you on the carpet for a little.
Whoa. Can you agree that when he's telling his story about Precious calling Ace is nodding because she did call her and she did tell her that? Do you remember that part?
I can't get over the lie by omission part.
Oh my God!
All the other stuff, all of that stuff can still be true, while he's keeping a big part of it out, which is the information he got from the producer. He is not bringing that up.
But he's not lying on Precious though, right? She did call Ace because Ace is nodding. Like, tell me where he's lying in their conversation.
Because the information came from the producer that they were going to send him home. It didn't come from Precious.
It did come from Precious. She admitted it.
It came from the producer. It came from the producer. Because the producer, he said the producer called him and told him,
made a mistake, right?
Made a mistake. But he not bringing that up in the reunion.
But why does that mean? But she still did admit that she did call Ace and tell her.
But what I'm saying is, it's hard for me to believe anything he's saying at this point because he's not bringing that up.
But you gonna believe her?
I already know he lied. I don't know that she lied. I already know that he's keeping something out of the story. So why would you go with him and not her? Because we already know.
Absolute irrational. She already got caught in not telling the whole truth.
Whoa! Where you get that from? She got caught not telling the whole truth. How you know that?
Carmen said she called me, and she's like, "No, I did." So now we don't know who's telling what, right? That her whole story started to fall apart.
Earlier when we did an earlier show, and we were talking about Sabrina, right? And you were saying that those guys, they should have known. All they was looking at was her looks. She didn't have no character. She didn't have this, that, and the third. And they should have known. Mm-hmm. And I view you the same way with Laverne. It's all about his looks. You're not looking deeper. You're not looking deeper. He gets away with everything. You're practically doing the same thing you accused the fellas of doing with Sabrina.
And I'm going to defend myself on that one because I'm going to tell you where I disagree.
All right.
Because I can say I believe Laverne is confident and cocky. He's both. I believe he's funny though. I love the way he's like, hey, I'm the dopest dude in the room. All y'all dope. Y'all just don't lean into it like I do. Like that's hilarious shit to me. You can't make that up. But at the same time, I am not, hold on. I am not clueless as to that situation on that couch about this story. It did not all add up. And I think on the next episode, we're going to see how the ladies are doing this to each other and pointing in different directions because they don't have there's some truth to, yeah, we was trying to break them up, but we not getting ready to say how it all started. And it's easy for people to make Laverne look bad because everybody can't stand Laverne. So he's an easy target. Where on the flip side, Carmen gets all upset with Demetrius, call him a bitch, right? I'm like, so she just totally, because I was on her side until she went that far. And I was like, you know what? She's up here on level 10. I can't believe nothing she say because she's been sitting on all of this the whole season, wanting to come out here and have her day, right? So to me, she loses a little credibility because she's calling people names and acting all crazy. And she did it
that's pretty
to another person.
I agree.
So when I looked at this the second time, because I watched it again, because I felt like none of this they're not clearing anything up with this story. Like, yes, I heard there was a producer. He's not going to bring the producer in it. But that don't mean she didn't make a phone call to Ace. And she did. And that doesn't mean that Ace didn't tell him, because she did. So how does he become a liar because he's omitting a part, but he's telling the truth on the other part?
I don't think that both things can, well, I put it this way. I don't think that they can both be truly correct. And
I think they're both true.
Wait. Not necessarily, because if he really got the information from the producer, which is what had happened, then by definition, he can't be telling the whole story or the whole truth. He can only be telling maybe a percentage of truths, which they will acknowledge. They will say, yeah, he called such and such, and she called such and such, and all of that could be true, but the actual information of that could be a lie. He could have gotten that from the producer.
How come he couldn't have gotten it from
both? Which he already really admitted to.
How come he didn't get it from both? See, I think he got it from both places. That's what I think. Because Ace is not. You're
trying to give him an out.
No, I'm not.
Don't be like those guys with Sabrina, just giving her passes.
I'm gonna leave it because I watched it twice. Ace is nodding. Sabrina is nodding to the story he's telling.
I'm not saying he's telling all of it as lie, because he did say he called Sabrina, and Sabrina said, yeah, he did call me. He did call me.
I feel like you're doing it.
No, Sabrina did call. All I'm saying is, I know about the omission part. That doesn't
mean he's lying.
But
we're talking about the precious part. That's the part you need to be focusing on. You're distracted by this other piece.
Why didn't he bring up the producer part?
He probably can't. Did it dawn on you that he can't?
Well, if he can't, then don't talk about it, because that's a big part of the story.
He brought it up. But again, he can bring it up because Precious did call Ace. She's nodding. Like, yeah, you can know this other piece from someplace else, but he also knows it because the other part happened as well.
Okay.
I
know that's your dude. I knew that's your dude.
No,
that's your,
it's not that.
That's the Gary.
He's not my number one.
Gary alum.
That's not that. I need you to watch it again because you want him to be a liar, and the other people are agreeing with him.
I don't want him to be a liar. Again, he could have made all the calls he said, and still not get the main information from Precious. I mean, why else would she be offended by this? She obviously don't feel like she said that.
Mad about some other stuff, right? She mad. Precious is mad.
He got it from the producer. He should have mentioned the producer. If he can't mention the producer, then he shouldn't even talked about it,
I don't think
but
he should, but it's fair. It's fair enough. You can ask
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. It's just there is a such thing as a lie by omission, and that I think that's a good
There
example of
is,
it.
but I don't think in this case it's that big of a deal because the truth that he's saying is also the truth. It's not like they're saying that didn't happen. It actually did happen. So
But
how
it's
is
an
he?
omission, Tamara.
I get the
He
producer
could he
part,
could
but
he
what
could say
about the
all that
precious
other stuff and it could be right, but
part?
there
Okay.
is still an
Okay.
omission. You see
Very
what I'm
good.
saying? Okay.
I do, and I just feel like what Tommy wanted to talk about was the precious Laverne. You're bringing in the producer. They're talking about the precious Laverne, and and based on what she said, they
Well,
were agreeing that his story was correct. So that's
well,
the part I'm focused
obviously,
on.
Tommy's not going to bring up the producer side because they don't want the show to look bad, like
Okay.
it dropped the ball, which is what they pretty much did. And it look, if the show said don't talk about the producers, I'll let it ride with Laverne. I'll give him a pass because he not supposed to talk about that, and they don't want him to talk about that because it makes the show look bad because producers, you know, spilling the
Are
beans,
supposed
so
to
to
be,
speak.
yeah,
So
but they are
I will
behind the
get
scenes.
that. So I will
Okay.
have to get the backstory on that before I could really, but all I know is there was an omission, and it was by Laverne, and he had already spilt the beans about it. So it was just crazy that it kind of went down like that. I felt like he should have brung that up, but if he can't, he can't. But we'll never
So I
know,
got
I
another
guess.
piece that might make you apologize to me from your
Okay,
earlier indictments on my character,
we shall
which
see.
is I felt like when they were probing on, the Ace Laverne discussion and what them connecting later, I felt like Ace gave a non-answer. I felt like she did not say, she said she wanted a certain kind of relationship and he didn't offer that. And if you're fertile ground, all these words, what I really wanted her to say was what I expected and what Laverne gave me. Because in that case, there's something that is actionable on his part. Like, I'm waiting to hear, well, did he not hardly call you? Was he being an asshole still? Was he acting cocky? Say that. Like, I felt this is again where I feel like the reunion is kind of piss poor in that she didn't describe what he didn't do. Now, because I'm curious to know, because I could see him still being narcissistic. I was waiting to hear the icky stuff that Laverne does that makes him not good in a relationship because I could believe it. So in the same time that I don't think he lied about the
So you
precious
do
thing,
think he's
I do think
narcissistic?
I actually don't know what narcissistic means. I just used it. That's what other people say. Um,
That's
I don't. I think a
hilarious.
lot of people
What?
don't know what it means. They just use it, but I don't know what it means.
Okay. Okay.
I just think that he's cocky and he's very self-centered. And I think he has a huge guard up. And he's not ready to love. And if you want to experience love, you have to be vulnerable. You have to let someone, you can't, because I think on the surface, he's attractive, he's cool, he gets away with that part. He got his little corner. All the women was all into him, right? And they was flustered and blushing around him because he's so attractive and he's funny. But he doesn't let you go the next level deeper. And that's on him. And I wanted to hear that part because that's what I believe about him. That makes him difficult to love. So
Yeah. I do actually think he probably is a narcissist. I feel like he is a bit self-absorbed. He probably look. He was in a relationship earlier though, and I guess it went for a while. I think he was with his what wasn't he married before, or
yeah,
just
he
in a
was married
relationship?
before.
Okay, so yeah,
In his
so
younger 20s.
I
He was
I,
a
I just think that Laverne, like I said before, I think the guy just don't have a whole lot of relationship experience, and he don't know how to. He has practically zero emotional intelligence. I mean, he just don't. He can't read the room. He don't. He don't pick up on cues. He don't know how he looks to other people. He is
Mhm.
clueless when it comes to that stuff. Clueless.
And
Like I
he's not alone in that. not
He's not.
knowing how you look to other people.
Well, I mean, I don't know where you're
I'm not
going
talking
with
about
that.
you. I'm actually talking about me. So
Yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
where Laverne's personality very much resonates with me, because he thinks he's giving this, it's coming across as something else. And that part, maybe he needs a playback or
I
someone to actually give him something actionable and say, what would have been a better response to me is if you had said blah, blah, and blah.
Well, I
Because
don't think a lot of people know how they look to other people. I don't, I don't even really know how I look to other people. Sometimes it just is what it is. You're out inside looking out. You don't know outside looking in. That's why a lot of people, get advice from other people because they're oblivious to how they're coming across. He just have a bad case of that. And what really doesn't help in that is that he is a horrible listener. Even if you tell him about himself, he ain't gonna believe it because he's the best thing since sliced bread. And that's stunting his mental growth. It really is. I mean,
disagree.
it's bad enough that you are narcissistic, but then, well, I mean, that's really the definition because I mean, you ain't, can't nobody tell you. You listen. You just come off not just arrogant, but unable to connect and unable to love people and unable to be your genuine self. A lot of times,
Yeah.
narcissists are have a bad relationship with their mother. I see you looking it up now, but
I have to have data for myself.
no,
I
no, no.
gotta.
That's fine. That's fine. A lot of times, our narcissistic people have a bad relationship with their mother, especially, and both parents, but especially their mothers. When they feel like they're not, haven't been loved, they don't trust anybody and don't have the capability of love anymore. So, they come off grandiose. Also, that's another trait of a narcissist. They're very grandiose people. Laverne, check. He comes off grandiose and arrogant and self-centered and everything is geared towards how he feels. He's horrible at taking other people's feelings into consideration because it's the Laverne show, you know. Um, but again, I don't think he wants to be that bad a guy. I think he can be a good guy. Like even narcissists will do nice things for people. They'll they'll be chivalrous. They'll open doors. They'll do all of this, that, and the third. But when it comes to the meat of it all, they are very self-centered and they lack a certain love emotion because as kids they never felt loved, and so they grow up being a bit disconnected from not just reality but connecting with people on a genuine level. They only connect with people on a surface level because that's all they learned as kids. And I don't know the guy personally. I can't. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna call him a narcissist, but I see some traits. I'll put it that way.
Okay, I like how you clean that up.
You see
Because
what
I
I'm
was gonna
saying?
say one of the things that I got from him too is people didn't get the chance to get to know him, and what my feedback to you, Laverne, sweetheart, you know, fellow Garian, is you have to take a risk and open yourself up to it, right? You have to ingratiate yourself upon people to make them see that you're open. You're not open, and that's
But
one thing that I think Ace said without saying. I really wish she would give us some meat to chew on because she really didn't. So
yeah,
that
like I
he can.
said, Ace,
This is the right way to behave,
just
right?
this ambiguous chick, man. She don't give you really nothing. It just irks the crap out of me. Like even her
they
answers
asked,
at the reunion was ambiguous.
yeah, because he was like, "Well, do y'all have a chance?" We all know she dating the other dude, and she gonna say TBD. Why don't you just say not
Yeah.
really? I'm somebody else.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm rocking with Tyrone. We all know by now. You rocking with
what are you
Tyrone.
doing?
Okay. And that if that's the case, that's the case. I don't know when this reunion was filmed, but still, it's like, to be determined, that ambiguous stuff.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I mean? And that's why I always had an issue with Ace in that regard. Like, you know, she just keep it real, man. Don't just sit up here and that's it's a bit of a turn off to me. I'll just be honest.
mm,
But it's funny because she can act like she's down with the girls and she's very definitive in a lot of her ideologies and stuff, but when it comes down to hard questions, especially in the moment, she
mhm.
I don't it's like
Yeah, I just found her a waste of space on the couch.
yeah,
Like I was
yeah,
like, you
yeah,
gave us
and absolutely nothing.
this
And
was your chance to tell it, right? You're supposed to tell it, and
it
she said
was.
nothing.
And the thing is, I don't see no future with Ace or Laverne. So it's a wrap. But she just like to stay she just like to stay a mystery.
Neutral.
I think she get a kick out of that
Yeah.
shit, to be honest. She really gets a kick out of that. But yeah, who else? What you got?
Okay, I want to talk about Eric because Eric was interesting for me. I was happy to see him back on the show because I liked Eric. I liked Dakia and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And as they unfolded that conversation, they still didn't get as far as I would have liked because I would have wanted to hear about this other people, characters, stuff they was talking about. I would have wanted to know, but I get a sense that there was people on the show, other cast members who had a different perspective on it, and I would have loved to hear that. But I feel like you and I called it with Dakia is that I don't think she means to send mixed signals, but I think Dakia is a good woman who has a bad girl streak. And when I say the bad girl streak, that's where the flirting comes in, the making a certain kind of comments, but she not all bad girl. And so you can't, no matter how much she lets you talk under the table, she's not that girl. She has those girl moments. She's not that girl. So when I hearing the story, I feel like it being in public was the issue. It being in front of the other guys, that if they were behind closed doors and he did that, I don't think it would have been as big of an issue.
I totally agree. I think it was really just a matter of her being embarrassed. And, it's funny because it seemed like now Eric is like, you trying to embarrass me now.
Well, and so the part that was insightful was when she was like, I let you know, I pushed you in your chest and said, you don't touch me like that. And I was like, I think they both were embarrassed. She was embarrassed because it happened in front of other guys on the show. Maybe some connections there, like, right, like don't mark your territory in front of the others. But then the other piece of something that Eric said was he felt like we had kissed off camera. I felt like we was going to be a couple. So he did feel like, based off the things that they had talked about and things that had transpired between them, that was okay. So in that, I feel like I wish they had had a chance to talk about it and move through it. They deserve to giving each other that before on the show, not like now.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. Like, they need to at least have a conversation about it. And then I said this, a couple episodes when we were talking about it. And then on a reunion, Eric was like, when was I supposed to apologize? You didn't want to talk to me. When would have been a good time? And I was
all the women in the web gonna hate me, but I loved Eric. I do think him using profanity made him look like a bad guy, but you could tell he was like, this is some bullshit because I tried to apologize to you, ran off and told everybody all this stuff. We should have been able to talk about this.
That's what my point was. I said that. I was like, she don't seem like the type of woman that will want to talk about it afterwards. And I was dead on. And sure enough, he was like, when was supposed to be a good time? I tried to apologize to you, and she just cut him off. But he said he did that because I guess he was hearing from maybe producers that she didn't want to talk to him no more. So what was he supposed to do this whole time? I mean, that, and I hate that I was right about that with Dakia, but she does need to. She's very fragile. She do need to. I mean, she should have had that conversation. Like I said, it should have at least struck a conversation, and she should have been able to talk about it. I really don't like when people close the door of communication. It's real whack to me. Kids and teenagers do that stuff. If we're grown adults, we should be able to talk things out. Yeah, okay, maybe I misread you, and for good reason. We were kissing, we was doing all of this when the cameras wasn't around or whatever, and now when we get in front of some people, now you brand new. You want to act brand new now. So now I'm in the wrong because I'm misreading some signals that and you're throwing mixed signals, by the way, but we should at least be able to talk about it, and you shut the door on communication. That's super whack.
Yeah, it for me, it hurt me. It hurt my feelings that they couldn't talk through, because I did think they were going to go the distance, and I wanted them to. I was rooting for them. And when things happen like this is another lesson in love. It's like both of them, I feel like pride. There was pride on both sides.
It was
that
pride.
Both of them needed to let it down. Because if you guys thought y'all was gonna be a couple, man, this show was worth. Sorry,
worth a conversation at least.
Yeah, man, it's just, you just don't let things. If you're into it, maybe she wasn't. He was into it from what he said. That they should have been able to talk it through. So that part made me sad, and I hated to see him not on the show. And then,
now
but
Tommy asked a good question. Tommy asked, "Do you feel like you were being misled, or y'all was in that space?" And he, or what did he say? Do y'all
like
feel
she was saying
you got
he
the
misread
signal?
you,
Yeah, signals mixed. And he said no. Do you believe him?
I did believe him. Again, the women on the interweb gonna hate my guts, but I did believe him, because him saying we kissed off camera, but even if he was wrong in that moment and misread it, y'all have had other tender moments. So talk is worth saving. That's
why did the kid not want to talk to him? Can you explain that?
So she said that she didn't want to talk to him because he sent her a text that said we have nothing to talk about. He sent that text before,
because he got the word from the producers. She don't want to talk to you no more,
or somebody,
or she don't want no more communication with you, or something like that.
He was hearing that she didn't want to talk to him, and so I think, but she got her reasons. Maybe she didn't like Eric as much. Maybe she liked Clifton more. Only she knows.
That wasn't it.
Why she
liked
didn't
Eric the most, and she messed it up because she didn't want to talk it out. And she probably, like I said, she missed out on another guy. And I said this in the previous episode. She probably met the guy. But she lost him because she didn't want to talk things out. I said that in a previous episode. And that's probably, I'm not saying that that's Eric, but it could have been her guy, but she probably met that perfect guy, wrote him off because she didn't want to talk things out.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this, because I'm going through this myself, is that a lot of times we as women, maybe men have this too, we have a vision of what our courtship is gonna look like. Don't know where the hell we got it from. Probably from a fairy tale, a rom-com,
definitely a fairy tale,
right? And when it doesn't line up that way, it doesn't feel right. It just don't. It don't resonate with you. It don't feel. I feel like Sabrina's going through the same thing. It just don't resonate with you. It should, somebody might say, but if that's not what you're expecting or used to, sometimes we're programmed what we used to, and this is different, and not all different good, might be different bad. We're easier to throw it away because it doesn't look like either what we used to or what we're expecting. And I think with Eric, No matter what they did in the bedroom or wherever else they was at, did not expect a man that would choose her, would touch her that way in front of other people. I'm gonna say that about in front of other people.
I think and
Because
I
if
know
I
I
was
said
her, I would have been embarrassed, especially if Clifton was one of the guys, right? Eric grabbed my breasts and Clifton saw that. I have no chance with Clifton. This man has just taken me off the market. I probably wouldn't have responded the way she would have. I would have tried to figure out how to talk to him about it later. And like, hey, the public thing. I would have. I know me. I would have tried to be
Eric was
diplomatic.
her strongest connection. So why?
He still
Like
likes
that's
Clifton.
like Joy saying if Clifton touched my breast, I don't have a chance with Dimitri. It don't make
I don't know.
sense.
Well, see, for me, it would make sense. Like, you don't know what I got going on in this room. I don't need you to mark your territory. Like, so I thought about that, but I don't think the key is that kind of girl.
Dakia was just in
Just
her
ruined my game.
pride, in her ego, and
Eric
she
too,
didn't have the
though.
conversation.
Don't just put it all on her. Eric too.
Oh, Eric was wrong too. He
But
was
I'm saying
wrong. He misread signals. I think a lot of it was bubbling frustration on his part, because not only did he feel like he had a connection with Dakia, but he feel like she trying to embarrass him now. So and trying to put him into that touchy, creepy category. So so he came out hard in the reunion, like, look, I didn't, like we had a connection. We was kissing off screen and everything. Don't make it seem like I'm some kind of creep. You're doing to me what you didn't want me to do to you, but you're doing it to me in front of a national audience. Like, it's, so he was in his feelings. I get both sides, to be honest. But as adults, they should have talked that out. It's just how I feel about it.
Especially if they connection was so strong, right? And
and I know that was the story you was the most intrigued by, is the Eric and Dakia story.
Is it the one I was most intrigued by?
Yeah.
Why
Because you said during the reunion you wanted to hear more about what happened with that situation than anything else.
I did, because I had a hard time accepting what happened. I had a hard time with him doing something and a hard time with her not being able to work through. I just was like, what did he do? Did he whip his stuff out and slap it across her face? Like, what did he do to her that was so bad?
I know, right?
Because I just thought they was vibing.
Yeah, they were vibing. It's just, it's a good example of when, I don't want to say when feelings get in the way or when pride get in the way. I probably would say when pride gets in the way. If when keeping it real goes wrong, sort of, you end up in a situation where you in a regretful, because and I would like to see them still try to work it out, but with all of the embarrassment around the situation, I think pride is going to even keep them from doing that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like her response by pushing him in the chair, when I heard about that part, I was like, oh, okay. So he was embarrassed too. Not only was she embarrassed, he was embarrassed. I don't see them being able to get past that, and then let all this time go by. Like,
right. Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That story is sad to me. Yeah. I have to say something. The earth is gonna shake.
Wait. Don't let it be about Cliff or Joy yet.
It's not.
Okay. Go ahead. The earth is gonna shake.
Donovan.
Okay.
Donovan turning out to be my favorite person on the show. Bye. I can't believe it either, because I thought he was funny.
He passed Cliff?
Yeah, because here's what I like about him. I mean, Cliff's good. I can't have Cliff. That's Joy's man. So he kind of comes out. He's on the do not touch list, right? But Donovan is he's a man. He's a confident man. He's not an arrogant man. He's not a Laverne. He's definitely advocated for himself. He like, I know what I can pull, and I know what I'm gonna put up with, and I know what I'm not gonna put up with. And so for a while, I was thinking him and Carmen, they ended up with each other by default, right? Carmen got thirsty. Her connection with Paul went sour. Donovan didn't get a chance to be with Tina because she don't care about the show. Him and Sabrina fell apart. So he just picked what was there. And for a while, I was like, see, that sucks. That's not going to last. But I saw an Instagram picture, they're together. And I thought, but I bet a lot of us are not somebody's first choice. But people get weeded out. And there's really a blessing in that. People weed themselves out. They show themselves. You might be hell-bent on them for what way they look or the way they talk or how they shaped, but their attitude or something weeds them out, and you're left with a surprise candidate. And I think Carmen was a surprise. He liked her, but she was nowhere near his top. And so Sabrina just eliminated herself. She just, and people do that. You think you like somebody, you all in, and they do something, and you like, yeah, well, I can't mess with you no more. So, because we typically pick what we're used to or we're drawn to physically, and I just think I'm kind of like them together. I think they match. I think their confidence matches. I think their sex appeal matches. I mean, I don't think Carmen is actually pretty in the face, but her body, I can't lie, is banging. I do think they probably have bomb ass sex. I do think they're both flirty and can handle the other person being themselves. I don't think another woman will be confident enough to be with Donovan. And I don't think another man will be confident enough to be with Carmen. So that's why he is turning into one of my favorite people.
Okay.
Stated his intentions. What it was, like he told Sabrina, what wish you luck? I'm gonna focus on Carmen. That's it, that's all.
All right.
Now,
I mean, I guess I don't really understand that totally, to be honest. How he
understand
could
what?
have passed Cliff just because he's a
Cliff's off
confident
the
guy.
table. Cliff's off the table. Cliff, I don't even consider Cliff anymore. I feel like Joy is a better match for Cliff than me, right? So I just
Okay, so
like he's
yeah,
I have no shots at Cliff, right? Joy is a better. I don't think I could be as jumpy and excited like she is. That's just not. I'm not gonna.
That's not your personality, right?
So I feel like
yeah,
that's where
I like I said, I respect all the guys, even Laverne. Even though I know his ways, but I respect all the guys on the show. I think they represented themselves in a decent way. As far
what do you
as
think about
Carmen,
him telling? Oh, can I ask you a question? What did you think about Donovan telling Demetrius about the off-camera kissing and stuff? Me and you kind of talked.
he took a L on that. To me, as a guy, you just don't kiss and tell. You really don't. So that's he gonna have to hold that L for that.
He was throwing salt in the game.
I actually respected Dimitri's responses. Yeah, I was hurt, but I ain't heartbroken or crying or nothing. But I was hurt. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And then Sabrina got to talking about Dimitri and like he's low key. He don't even smile and all this other stuff. And dude, it's like this chick, obviously they don't got no emotional chemistry. They don't got no. It's
sure.
Probably it's all physical, really. It ain't got no mental chemistry because I don't think Dimitri takes very kind to her always name calling and shitting on him or all the men for that matter. I mean, Sabrina pretty got that bad. Her ego is probably as bad as Laverne's, except she don't voice it. Like she don't.
But she gets you though. But she gets you.
yeah, she gets you. And I respect how Dimitri held himself. I respect, like I say, most of the guys. I wasn't more impressed with Donovan this episode than the rest of the season.
I don't think like this episode. I just look back at his whole journey and how he quickly, made some connections, tried to explore them, and quickly weeded their ass out.
Yeah, because
And I
Donovan
think,
was like, well, I will have to say this about him. He was like, what, second or third surprise. He was like the second surprise guy, right? Wasn't he? Oh no,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
third. He
yeah,
was
he was added
after
late.
Eric. So he was
Mhm.
after the big guy. So it was the big guy first. It was then it was Eric, and then it was Donovan. So for him to end up with somebody at the end of the show, he had to put some work in for that because he was there the least amount of time, and he ended up with Carmen. So maybe it was a chemistry thing. Who knows? But um, I respect a lot about how Donovan moved, except for the whole, telling Dimitri thing.
Telling Demetri.
Yeah, he got to avoid
Well, you
that.
know, especially since they couldn't recover. I mean, and what Sabrina should have done was been like, yeah, that was foul on my part, especially since she ain't kissing him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And to me, that should have been a telltale. Okay, then I'm gonna tell you something about Sabrina that I had an aha moment. Sabrina talks because I think Tommy brought it up. Like you're saying, y'all both recently divorced. You're saying Donovan ain't ready. What makes you think you ready? I don't actually think she is. If she's been married and she said something about being with one person and having to juggle with different people, she's in her whole phase. That's what she doing. She ain't ready for love. She like Tori because Tori dotes on her. She liked him because he liked her, and she liked the way he made her feel, but she didn't really like him. Then when it came to Donovan, she wanted to smash Donovan. They played the playback where they first date. She like, if I had a couple of drinks, would I sleep with him? Answer is yes. That's why they kissed. That's why I believe they did more than kiss.
yeah. I
Because
do
kiss
too.
for other things.
I do too.
But that's what she wanted from him. And then Demetrius, she just attracted to how he looked. She is not she do not want Demetrius. He's not her style. He didn't pursue her the way she likes. That's why she kept picking at him. Just kept bringing it up, right?
That was
I think
look,
she liked
look.
the way he looks. That because
Sabrina, yeah, she likes the way he looks because I don't know. I think subconsciously Sabrina and I could be wrong about this. I think she
Mhm.
like chocolate brothers because she think they're gonna bow to her because she light skinned or something. You know what I mean?
We going
Like,
there.
yeah, yeah. Like I think she's it's deep down real petty with it. Like, like her ex, right? Her ex was a chocolate brother, and he
Was.
probably was kissing her feet. This is a woman who needs a guy who is a beta, okay? Because she wants to be the man in the relationship.
I
She
think
wants to
she's
be the
coming
man, and
out
when
of a
she get,
divorce. I think she's
but
not
when
ready.
she comes against a man, then she don't like that. Donovan was a man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but she
Dimitri
still
was a
wanted.
man.
Okay. She Donovan was a man, but she wanted to smash Donovan. Like we are going to have to sit with that one. She was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
sleep.
She wanted to,
If he,
yeah,
she
Donovan
could
was
have
going
got
to
away
make
with
that
it.
happen. Yeah, we can roll in the hay. That's all good. Yeah, Donovan, he gonna make that easy. Dimitri didn't make that easy because Dimitri want
No,
respect first. He'll worry about the
he didn't pursue
P is
her. He
probably
just
not his problem. He want the respect first. And Donovan, like I'll take the P first, and you ain't got to respect me because I ain't gonna pick you. I'm not gonna bow down to you. You know what I mean?
but
But
I take it.
if you ask me, yeah, if you ask me, he probably came out ahead on that situation with Sabrina because he got what he wanted and chose another chick anyway. So,
Mm.
but that's Sabrina's issue. She thinks she want an alpha male. She don't want an alpha male. She won't gel with an alpha male. She wants to run things, and I really don't like her. I want to personality or her demeanor or her just how she handled things. She is a bit corporate and she is a bit a matter of fact and almost like she thinks she's better than you, like she's an authority figure. And the guys are like, I mean, Dimitri and Donovan especially, like, nah, you ain't better than me. I just need to know where you at as far as this relationship thing going. She probably could have got away with that with Tori. I don't even think she could have got away with that too much with Paul. I think Paul
Mm.
would have had enough after a while. But
What the aha I had on Sabrina is Sabrina needs to play the field right now. She is not ready to
she
love.
does. So she
She
you are correct. She is in her HO, in her 403 phase. And ain't nothing wrong with that. A lot of times when you come out of a marriage, you kind of go into that sometimes. You go into that phase because you're trying to rediscover yourself and find the things that you like and catch up on some things you felt like you was missing out on or whatever the case may be, and just to enjoy yourself and let your inhibitions run wild because it's almost like you
because
you on
when you're married,
parole.
you don't get to have that kind of fun.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, a lot of couples don't have that kind of fun. And so yeah, I think she's enjoying the field. It is what it is. It's whatever. But
This is
if I had
if
advice for Sabrina, it would be humble yourself. Yes, you're very attractive on my list, but your mental needs a lot of work because you got way too much pride. You want to be a man, and none of that is attractive. Okay, none of
you
that is
think she want to
attractive.
be a man, I don't think I get that.
She wants to be. Oh, she want to use her feminine wiles, but I'm saying as far as everything else. She got for her to be so petite, she got a lot of masculine energy. You know how and I'm not I know I'm gonna make this comparison. I'm not trying to be, disrespectful or nothing. But you know how chihuahuas are, right? Or people will have the Napoleon complex,
Mhm.
right? She sort of have like a Napoleon complex to the point where she's small and petite, so she feel like she got to be over boisterous and direct and just just so she could feel like she could be heard. I just feel like she kind of suffers from that a little bit of Napoleon complex. Like, you small, you petite, you dainty, lay in that. Lay in. Why is it so hard for you to lay in that feminine energy? You would get much better results if you did that. You probably would have kept your husband if you would have did that.
Oh, be careful.
Well,
Look,
I
listen.
know, I don't know that whole story, but what I'm saying
Don't.
is, it
So
can't.
what
It
should she? Let me frame this up because I want to know how she's supposed to have handled that. Because I feel like I never liked her, so don't think I'm on her side. But she was direct and she was honest when it was time to be honest. So I'm not mad at her for that. But when it comes to Tory, how should she have handled Tory? She didn't like Tory. How should she have handled him?
she didn't like Tory. I don't see really anything she necessarily did wrong with Tory. If she don't like him, she don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You don't
just
think she set him
because
up?
she don't like him, don't mean he wasn't good for her. There's a difference there.
Oh, but that she's not gonna see that because she don't like him,
She's not gonna
right?
see him,
So
right?
do you think she led him on?
I I think that she he was an anchor, what I call an anchor. He was an anchor in the show to hold her down until she found a real guy that she was looking for. He was the
Okay.
first guy. He came. He gave her gifts, gave her all the attention she wanted. So he was the first guy to anchor her and kind of solidify her in the RTL world. But once other guys came aboard, Dimitri stepped up, Donovan came out, you know, then it was like, okay, I'm gonna get the cream of the crop in this class of men, and Tory ain't the cream of the crop. I can only go for the cream because I'm Sabrina.
Mhm.
Okay.
So how should she have handled Donovan?
Um. Well, I don't see her really handling Donovan any other way. The only person I see her really needing to handle is herself.
But
That's
I'm
the
okay.
only
So
per
she catching a lot of flack. But I just wanted to give a guy an opportunity to say, okay, you didn't like the way she moved. How should
I
she
didn't
have?
I did I don't think she handled any of the guys wrong per se. I just
Mhm.
feel like she is her perception is out of whack. her her vision of not only herself but other men is out of whack. I think she's too much, like you say, in her 403 phase, and I don't even really think she's looking to really even connect. She's just not ready to love, really. She's just not ready to love, and she's not humble enough for love. You got to be a little vulnerable and humble to actually fall in love. And she ain't. She got her guards up. She want to be the man. She, she don't have no problem rejecting every dude she meet. She ain't ready. And
So you think she should have a problem rejecting every dude she meets? Like, what's wrong with not?
I just think that, the title is ready to love, and she's not that. She's just not that. So she was a placeholder. She was probably eye candy for the men, but she was a placeholder. It's a good number of people on the show that is not ready to love. Maybe they haven't done their self work yet. You know what I mean? They haven't did the therapy stuff, or haven't did the dating stuff, or because look, I think Carmen was probably one of the most ready. Her, Dakia, and Joy. They were the most ready women on the show, because I mean, Carmen is almost already talking about, I was married now. I know she's ready to love. And I know a lot of women don't like her because they think, oh, well, she's actually in her 403 phase. I don't think so. I told you. I do think
she comes across thirsty to me, but that's
she does. She's a pick me woman, but I love pick me women. I love pick me women. You know why? What man? I don't know what man wouldn't really like pick me women, because that just means they're ready. You're not going to waste your time, and you're not going to have all of these. And she's humble. I mean,
but here's the thing about pick me women. Do you really know who they are? Because we can all play a role to be exactly what you need. All I got to do is watch you, and I can turn into that woman for you. I can't sustain it though, because that's not exactly who I am. That's where true. The kind of can fall apart.
True. That's true.
You want it.
You would have to. I mean, there's no way around that other than time. You would have to spend time. Like, I would not advise them to get married tomorrow, right? So that being said, yeah, Donovan's gonna have to sit on it for a while to see how real it is, because you can only hide your personality for a small amount of time, at the most 2 years, and sometimes even less than that. Yeah. So he will have to sit on that.
I don't necessarily, I didn't like them as a couple, right? Because I didn't care for him or her. But I think I didn't care for Donovan in the beginning, and I didn't care for Carmen. I still kind of don't care for Carmen, but I do think they could be a good match if they are exactly who they appear to be. If they're different people, then I don't think they'll make it. But because I do think their confidence level and their matches. There's not like one of those people is insecure. Like, I do think she's a little bit insecure. That's why she hate on other women. But I do think she knows how to put herself in a position for a man to choose her. Again, most women don't like that, because who's really Carmen? Is that really Carmen, or is that Carmen's representative and how she pay her bills? Because I do think that's part of it as well.
Well, that's a fair question, but the thing is, it's funny because I haven't seen Carmen really. I mean, it is only a 2-3 month show, but I've seen her stay pretty consistent the whole time. I've seen her stay
not consistent. With Donovan, but consistent with who she is. Yeah,
with who she is, right? So that is this the real Carmen is probably not going to be the first thing on my worry list. I truly do think that she is a pick me woman, but I love pick me women, But at the same time, I feel like she really wants to settle down. I mean, look, everybody's in there is what, at least 30s, 40s, some, So I could see her being ready to get her, her man. And
Do you think
I
Donna's
think
ready to settle down?
I I don't. Again, I know that they at the reunion and they say they still going strong, and that's good. That's good, but I think Donovan is. I'm a little sketchy with people who just came out of the divorce. Okay, that would include both Donovan and Sabrina. Maybe that's why maybe that's what helped them connect more too, right? Because they in play mode. They both in play mode, so they played together. You know what I mean? So I'm a little sketchy with that. I wouldn't really take nobody serious unless for at least the first year out of a divorce.
Yeah,
after the first
I
year,
feel like it depends on how long you've been married.
yeah, it does depend on how long you've been married. Because if you've been married for, they say it takes at least half the time to get over. So if you're married 20 years, it's going to take 10 years for you to really fully be done with that situation.
I've heard that. I agree with that. That's kind of how I tracked. Yeah. I was married 10 years and 5 years. And I mean, the first couple of years I was still in wife mode. I was everybody's wife. I was doing all this stuff. And then I realized, wait a minute, I don't want this role again. I'm not cooking for no man. I'm not fixing no big piece of chicken. I ain't doing none of that. And I went the other way because I don't want you to get comfortable and start expecting that from me, because I played that role for 10 years. And I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now, right?
Why?
So
why didn't you like it?
Because I have a full and a half-time job, and I'm gonna come home and cook this man some chicken, so it was a lot of the interesting things about my marriage. Like, I worked day and I worked at night. I went to pick up the kids; they were babies. He would go to work, go to the gym, and come home at 7:00. And when he came home at 7:00, dinner was hot and ready. And he started being later and later and not giving me a phone call. But do you know what it takes for me to work my Intel job and pick my kids up, deal with their crabbiness, diapers, blah, 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 and have a dinner ready at 7? A lot. Takes a lot. And I did all that. I stressed myself out trying to beat all of that. And this dude would walk in the house late and be like, I want pizza. Like, he didn't acknowledge how much effort that took for me. And guess what I got to go do? Log in and work some more. So when I got divorced, I was like, you know what I'm not going to be doing? Cooking for nobody every day, because that's a lot to put on a person who has such a heavy job.
I know, like, Tamara, but
most women understand that for the man, if he have a heavy job. But somewhere the man got to recognize, I got a heavy job too. I got the job that's actually paying the bills. We should protect that job. Let's not wear your wife out with putting these restrictions on her to take care of the kids, cook and clean. And I get to just stroll in. I worked, I clocked in. I'm not paying the bills, and I expect dinner on the table. Come on, man. Like, that don't seem right.
Right. Let me ask you this. You meet a guy, right? Mm-hmm. You like him, y'all vibing, he came out of the divorce himself. He don't open no doors for you. He don't buy you no gifts. He don't take you no place. He said the reason why is because his ex-wife didn't appreciate none of that stuff, so he ain't doing that for you.
Okay. And then if that don't resonate with me, he's not my guy, right?
What do you mean? What? The question is, would it resonate with you?
It would resonate with me, and
because some of that stuff. But you don't want to have to pay for somebody else's. You don't want to have to pay for somebody else. You should never bring your baggage into a new relationship.
Okay, what the part you're missing is that's how I was the first 5 years after my marriage. I was cooking for Negroes. They would spend the night and I make them breakfast. And I realized I don't like this because that's not my husband. and I'm not doing this, right? So I said that was the first 5 years. Nowadays, I just actually don't have time to be cooking. Luckily, the guy I'm seeing, he don't trust women to fix his food. He fixes his own dinner. I love that about him because that he got his weird thing and I got mine, and it just happens to work, right? So I don't have to put in no extra effort and do no whole bunch of stuff that, like, I've had somebody come over,
but I guess,
for him, right?
but I
But
guess,
I can't do that every day. I know I don't have that kind of time.
right. But I guess the point is, it's not necessarily healthy to bring other things into new relationships because of how you're old.
What if I don't? But I don't like cooking. I don't want to cook. That's not what I want to do. I didn't want to do it for my husband. I did it because I'm submitting, and that's what wifely duty. And I'm a nester. I believe all that stuff you be saying. I tried to fit into all of that. And it was not what I wanted to do. It was just not my gifts. So I don't want to cook. Do I cook? Yes, because people got to eat, but not because I feel pride and joy. Like some people enjoy cooking. I don't enjoy it. I never have. So that's not me bringing something in. I just don't like to cook, and I sacrificed and did that for him because that's what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And you know, you have a special case because you're a busy woman, and you know you work pretty long hours, so it makes sense. I'm just saying, overall, with when it comes to stuff like that, like it would be unfair for a guy to say, I'm not doing nothing chivalrous for you because of how my ex treated, or she didn't appreciate it. And a women is going to say, what that got to do with me? That ain't, that wasn't your past.
We all do that. You know that. We're all a product of each and every one of our relationships. Sometimes if you meet somebody when they're healed, that's why you need half the time to get over it. So you stop feeling that way, and then you are open.
This is this is why some men, just not for nothing, this is why some men like younger women, because women who are, a little more aged, a little older, they have those things that they come in with, and they be like, well, I ain't doing this no more because of this.
So do men. You think y'all come in as blank slate?
Men do too. I'm not saying we exempt, but what I'm saying is this is another reason why men like younger women. I mean, it just is what it is, because women be set in their ways, and they be like, I did this for my ex, and I ain't doing it. And they do that too. I'm not saying the men don't do it, but I'm speaking from a male point of view.
But as a man, you should be able to say, I'm a man, and I know there's some shit I'm bringing into my relationships that's a product of something you said in one of the other episodes, if every woman let you down or something. You are bringing that with. We're all doing that. So the thing that
then don't do it.
But here's the thing: none of us can sit and say we're leaving all that behind. You heal from it, but it is an experience that you will draw from. Let's be real. Let's not sit up here and expect people to be totally.
I agree with you. It is something you will draw from, but there's a difference between learning something and actually bringing that into practice, so to speak. So, if say for instance, you married the guy you're dating now, right? And y'all decide, okay, we're gonna do the darn thing. You walk down the aisle. Look at you cheesing. And
we do. I love him. He's sweet. Keep talking.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could use him as an example.
Oh man, I don't like that you.
Let me use another guy. Let me use another guy as example. And then you don't bring you don't cook or anything for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just or he likes his woman to cook, okay, and he don't have the hang up that your guy has now. He wants his woman to cook. The thing to do is, okay, I understand what happened to me in the past, but I'm gonna do with my new potential husband or husband wants me to do. If he wants me to cook, I'll go ahead and cook. But if he shows no appreciation like my last, then I'll know that it's time to stop. I guess I'm a
You know,
firm
that's
believer
not what
that
I would do.
I guess I'm a firm believer that everybody should be working with as much of a clean slate as possible instead of bringing
So,
hang-ups or
so I think
whatever into new
I think my
relationships.
example, I probably led you to believe. I was saying during my first 5 years that I decided I wasn't cooking for nobody. But when I was engaged, like, okay, then that's another one. We could use that one. I was never getting married again. I met this guy. He's never been married. He wanted to be married. I fell for him. I was like, I don't really want to be married, but this guy wants to be married. So let's do it. I considered it for him because I loved him that much. So yes, when you meet, this is the difference. When you meet somebody that makes you rethink your stance, you will do what you need to do for that person. You're not gonna do it for everybody though, because everybody don't deserve it. You are gonna do it for the one that clicks.
All right,
You
fair enough.
will. You change your rules. That I
Fair.
mean, that's where love is illogical. Like it doesn't, like they said on Love Jones, my favorite movie. It defies logic. It is not if this then this. All your rules go out the window when you find that person that just puts a smile on your face when you think about them. You will be like, yeah, I ain't used to cook. I took a cooking class and now I make blah blah blah, right? I just figure out how to cook in between meetings or whatever. But nobody has struck you like that. You will not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can talk about Joy and Cliff. I really don't think there's not much to talk about, but it's okay.
What do you think?
So, okay. So they showed a preview of somebody getting on their knee in a box. It didn't really look like a ring box, but I would think Clifton would not go through the process of getting on his knee if he wasn't going to propose. What struck me is this. I learned a couple of things in all my long distance dating. One, you have to go big or go home. For a long distance relationship to work, you have to be all in because it costs financially, it costs time. You got to start learning about phone sex and different creative ways to connect. You have to be into that relationship. You are not casually long distance dating somebody. Otherwise, that's just your friend with benefits that live in a different state, because that's what it'll become. So when I saw the clip that looked like that, I'm like, that's the way they're gonna survive. You gotta be that intense with it if you are gonna have a shot. Because other than that, you're naturally gonna miss the person. And then I had somebody tell me this about my one of my relationships was like, I was in long distance, we were engaged, but we was engaged for 3 years. And the guy said that was your problem. After the first year, if y'all were still serious, one of y'all should have moved. One of y'all should have got to the place where the other one was, because not necessarily cohabitate, but you're in the same place so that you can start to develop a closeness, right? And you can see each other in all your elements for it to continue to grow. And so when I saw Cliff get on one knee, I thought, if they're going to survive anyway, it's because of this right here, because that puts the relationship in a higher level. That means some decisions need to be made, because you're not going to change your job for a casual dating situation, but you will change your job for your husband or your wife. So that's what I felt when I saw that one clip of that.
So you think that it's an attempt to get her off the road?
I don't think it's like that. I'm not trying to say that.
I'm not saying that he don't love her and want to be his wife, but I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that it's to show her that he's that serious to the point where, look, you can stay with me because I need you around me. I hate
Or
to
vice
make it.
versa.
Yeah, I
Or
hate to
vice
make it.
versa.
Yeah, well, as
He
a
could
matter of
go.
fact, I did see some footage of him at her job while she was singing. He was sitting in a stance, in Puerto Vallarta. So he did go and support his woman. So, but I mean, that's a job though. That you don't relocate. Well, I guess sometimes you can relocate for a job, but
Yeah, especially if he could work remote. Come on,
yeah,
man. She can't. She can't. His if his job is more flexible, I think you err on the side of that. But I don't know. I feel like
yeah.
part of me, and I'm gonna try not to be biased from all the other stuff you've always said, makes me feel like if Clifton was the singer on the road and Joy had a
Oh, well, she got
different
to
kind of
follow her
job.
man now. Come on now.
See that's the thing. He
I'm
can't follow her
kidding.
though.
I'm kidding. I'm
Like, get out of
kidding. I'm kidding. It's actually who's it actually is just who's more practical. What's more practical? They will have to decide what's more practical. Is it being in Puerto Vallarta or is it being where they at in DC or something? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a long freaking ways away. Like Puerto Vallarta is
I mean, if
um
Clifton's job anything like mine, he won't. He can do his job from anywhere. So, but she can't. She
true.
can't do that
Does she work?
job.
Does she work on a cruise ship or something? Or
That's what my thought was. She worked on a cruise ship, but I don't know. She
man,
never said.
yeah, never said Puerto Vallarta. That's yeah, but I thought it was pretty dope. I hope they do get married. I think it'd be the first RTL wedding.
And I
And
don't think the show had anything to freaking do with it. They did not, they broke the rules of the show. They didn't follow the script. They didn't, because Joy's like, I ain't got no other connection. I don't care what y'all talking about. And the only reason, technically she should have got voted off because no other guys could date her because she wasn't dating nobody else. But it was out of respect for Cliff that nobody voted her off,
it worked
right?
out. It
But
worked
in
out.
but in, if you follow the premise of the show, though, when you don't have no more connections, you're supposed to go. If enough people don't have a connection with you, you're supposed to go. So I feel like the show just introduced them. Their relationship was based on them. The show didn't facilitate that.
Exactly. I mean, they introduced now. I've heard both of them say, "Oh, I want to thank Tommy and then for hooking this up." They both grateful to the show. It sound like so that's good. But yeah, you would say they were supposed to go this that. I mean, I think they just played it perfectly. I don't know how better you could play it
I think
on this
Clifton did. I
show.
don't think Joy did, and we had talked about that. That she didn't play it. I
She
mean, because
did too. She did too. Now they didn't vote her off, but at the same time, is I mean, she made some half attempts to try to get to know some of the guys, but she liked who she liked. It worked out for her. Like if I was
I'm not
Cliff,
saying that. I'm not saying she played the game wrong, but she didn't. The rule, what you're supposed to do. Clifton did that. He kept his options open with the Kia. I mean, people would say he strung her along, but I really don't think that. I just feel like he did. There was something there. He didn't cut it completely off. He left it open as long as he could. But Joy didn't do any of that. And there were guys that liked Joy, just like I think Donovan did, because he said if he had been there earlier, he was gonna end up with Joy. And then Demetrius even said his connections was Sabrina and Joy. So there were guys that liked Joy. She just didn't give them she didn't give it back.
nah, she didn't give it back, and she actually told Dimitri, I think you playing games.
She showed
He's
it.
like,
She
what?
lit him up so good. I loved
Yeah,
it.
she was like, what? Why you think I'm here? I think you playing games. And it was like, I can understand women kind of being looking at Dimitri like, what are you really here for? Because he's so low key and laid back. But I don't know. I mean, they would know better than me. I mean, if maybe they tried to call him and he wasn't returning calls or whatever the case may be, I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, he should have put forth a little bit more effort, but I like Paul's answer at the end, and he was like, "People are where they're supposed to be."
Paul's so good.
He
I
is,
secretly like Paul. I
huh?
liked him. I've been liking him this whole time. And
Yeah,
like I would
yeah,
date Paul. He's
yeah,
weird. I could adjust to him. I've dated some weird guys.
yeah,
I'm
yeah. He's a cool guy.
I think he's insightful. I think he's smart. Even I've happened to see something when him and Laverne were answering questions, and his answers were just good. Laverne was just running his mouth. Paul was like, "Okay, I'm gonna answer it in 30 seconds or less." He answered the question. I like him. I just think that he doesn't have enough. Here's my thing about people. I didn't like Demetrius because he's not my type of guy. I'm big on I'm gonna give you the energy that you got the green light to come up to me, but you still gotta come up to me. You still gotta shoot your shot. And he just didn't look like a guy that shoots his shot. But there's women out there that are gonna chase him all day long. That women are programmed to chase men, right? I'm one of the women that aren't. I mean, I'm programmed to be like Carmen. I'm gonna give you the signal if you watch. I'm gonna put something down and see if you pick it up. Now, if you don't pick it up, I'm gonna go pick it up and take it to somebody else because I've been scoping the room. You're not the only one.
Right.
But there is a woman that will just chase this man until she can catch him. And that's the woman he needs. Because I don't think he can be anything different than the way he showed up. He ain't going.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah. I don't think he can be either. But we do got to take into account the I don't know. I would say we have to take into account the show and how it's set up too. I mean, a lot of people don't like the limelight like that, or they don't like, they do, are ambiguous or in the shadows. Like Ace was like that for the women. Dimitri was like that for the men. They just like to move in silence and move. Like they don't like people knowing their next move. I think he was intentional with Sabrina enough for her to know that he was interested in her and all in. I mean, he didn't really try to even hide that fact or make any other connections. I just think that the actions that he wasn't showing her the action behind the words, and that's where he kind of lost her at. And maybe that's the part he needs to get better at. Is like, you gotta show the intention, not just say it.
Especially since somebody believes that men are hunters. Negro hunt, right? Like you can't nest if you're supposed to be a hunter. And I think Dimitri's not a hunter.
You wasn't offended by that comment, were you? I mean,
I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, but it is a thing though. It ain't something I made up.
But see, that's where because I think you believe Dimitri says you would call him an alpha male. I would call him not at all. I wouldn't call him that because he did not hunt. He did not go after what he wanted.
That's fair. That's fair.
He spoke words and sat there. That's what.
I see your perspective. Maybe he's not an alpha. He's a gamma. There's gamma man. I mean,
but I think
beta,
the reality,
gamma, and it's different kind of.
We all have a style about how we want to pursue, how we want to be pursued, and we should all honor whatever that is, whatever title that Mike is gonna put on you. Ignore it. Just be you. Show up as you. There's somebody that's gonna love you, everything you got. And that's what I want to leave our people with is you ain't got to subscribe to what Kevin Samuel say, what Mike say, what Tamara say, what Oprah say.
Everybody watching this, listen to me.
Yeah,
okay, I know what I'm talking about.
He don't. He don't.
Hey, I've been right so many times I can't even count it.
It's based off of a bunch of
logic, knowledge, wisdom,
putting people in buckets. We are all individuals. We all got a different thing that make us tick. Love you first. Let's just do that. Let's become the expert on loving ourselves and being honest with ourselves. And then that person is gonna love you just the same. But you ain't gonna be for everybody.
Right.
And if you try to craft yourself to cast a wide net, you still gonna lose. You're still gonna lose because there's you ain't for everybody. I'm not for everybody. Mike ain't for everybody. So that's why I every time he puts people in buckets and gives these broad statements, it just make my chest hurt because I want you to be you.
I want people
Because
to understand the
because
points that I'm
if
making.
you're not gonna be you, you can't sustain it. You can't keep it up.
I'm
Listening, doing
not
what Mike
disagreeing with
says ain't gonna
being you.
last forever.
I'm not
You can't.
disagreeing with that. I'm not
Yeah,
disagreeing with that. Yeah, be you. Be your full self, and your job is to find someone who can merge energies with you.
yeah,
But
I
don't try
love
to
that.
fit square pegs into round holes.
Mhm.
But um, but at the same time, be a flexible peg. Don't be a hard peg.
Does that go for men and women, or just are we just talking to women
Why,
again?
why you always think I'm just talking about
I
women
just wanted to
all
clarify
the
because
time? Why? I mean, I always have to clarify this. It's everybody, men and women. All right.
thank you.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up. Thanks for joining us. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one. This will be for number 2. And I may have announcement next episode too. So stay tuned for that. I'll see
Mike
you
having a
later.
baby. Ooh, Mike getting
Oh, the
married.
news. Oh. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye.
Bye.